My name is Lauren Goldbloom. I'm from Spokane, Washington. Hey, Spokane. We are on the South Hill in a little neighborhood called Cliff Cannon, and we have a very grassroots, hyper-local church called Commonwealth, and we're just being neighbors. So I decided to do this and take the opportunity to write letters to my neighbors. Dear neighbor, joy, sorrow, hope, doubt, ridiculous grace, and bewildering disappointments. We're feeling it all over in our little corner of Spokane, but we're beginning to feel it together. As we seek the prosperity of Cliff Cannon, our flourishing is becoming tied up together, and we're becoming disciples of Jesus of Nazareth, who embodied love in the neighborhood. You can go to the next one. Dear neighbor, we've got some fall traditions now, like our fall block party, Oktoberfest, when we throw together a neighborhood band, fill the street with lights and food, and neighbors from all sides of the tracks, and our now annual Halloween costume parade. Every neighborhood tells a story, and let's keep telling a better one. Dear neighbor, tonight we had our monthly ladies' night, just a bunch of women sharing the evening together with a common bond of the neighborhood. Tea or wine and charcuterie and always chocolate. I watched you walk in tentatively, wondering what all this was about. But as we went around the room and introduced ourselves, you didn't hold back. Something in your spirit sensed that this was a space to be held in, a community where you can be known, and you trusted us with a piece of your story. Dear neighbor, we went to the mountain today, all bundled in our snow gear for a few hours of inner tubing with 40 of our neighbors. It's been a long winter with the Omicron rampant, sickness all around, but we are finding a safe way to enjoy this beautiful place on earth where we get to live. It was your first time up a mountain, and I watched you giggle with glee with your neighbors cheering you down the hill. What if the neighborhood life is one of joy and new adventures and trying new things together? Dear young neighbor, you're so precious, kiddo, but can I tell you a secret? Some days I want to give up. But then I think about you and I think about the village that we're becoming, and it's the one that it takes to raise you. So we'll keep going because your little eyes are watching and your ears are listening, and we're discipling you into something. So God help us, we will disciple you in the story of resurrection, one beautiful, ordinary day at a time. Dear neighbor, this year our little faith community has walked through all kinds of trauma, mental health crises, divorce, domestic violence, financial struggles, grief, and loss, and we're learning to be there for one another at all hours of the night, keeping watch over each other and sharing the burden, learning to walk right into the mess of things with a broom in one hand and an extra cup of coffee in the other, and we keep lighting candles in the dark for one another, singing hope songs in the dark of winter, and this is the way we make it through the night. Dear neighbor, I know I talked you into this whole camping thing, but I'm pretty sure that your kids are never going to let you miss a single day of our now annual neighborhood camping trip. 3 days in the sun and the water with no more streets and walls to separate us, campfire songs and hikes in the woods, and Maisa's barbecued beef on the fire, and the simple joys of making memories together. As a single mom of 4, you got so much on your plate, but every year I watch your kids jump off the dock for 3 days straight, and I can't help but marvel at the ways God's weaving us into a big family. Dear neighbor, I was 2 blocks from home when the accident happened. Cars collided, a metal crashed, and airbags deployed, and I was in shock, my ears ringing, the smell of smoke, and the sound of my 7-year-old daughter crying in the back seat. But the second I was out of the car, you were at my side. I sat on the grass clinging to my daughter, and your arms were wrapped right around me, and you heard it and saw it all, and you said over me, God's got you in his arms, and God did. They were your arms. You surprised me, neighbor, today. I turned 38, and you and 40 of our neighbors filled the Al-Suleimanin household, and I walked in unawares to balloons and flowers and so much food, and the tears were instantaneous, and you have no idea what it meant for you to be there. The church has wounded you deeply, and you've never returned, and I can't make it up to you, and I can't erase that pain, but Lord knows I won't be perfect, but by God's grace, I'm trying to be faithful so that day after day, you'll know you have the church next door. Dear neighbor, we at ate at our favorite place today, Feast World Kitchen, the new nonprofit restaurant in our neighborhood that features the cuisine of neighbors who are immigrants and former refugees. You served us the flavors of your home, and we delighted in every bite. We're pretty sure that you and the 70 chefs who are now part of Feast are making Spokane a more hospitable place to live, one meal at a time, less fear and more falafel. Dear neighbor, you washed my feet tonight. You have walked through hell this year, your whole life. And I'm not always sure how to be the pastor that you need and the neighbor that you need, but tonight you sat before me and you showed such love and gentleness, and I'm going to keep daring to believe in a resurrecting God who has new life for you and a story that is better than you can imagine. You're so loved. Thanks for loving me too. Dear neighbor, we just met today. It was Easter, and our little church wasn't inside any walls, but right here at our park. We proclaimed resurrection, and we stuffed ourselves with pastries and ham and tabbouleh, and we let the kids frolic in the woods to find their candy-filled treasure. And I don't know what you think about the resurrection yet. I don't know how that story sits with you, if it burns in you, but I wonder if maybe you tasted a bit of it today. Maybe as you spoke with your neighbors, or you watched our children play, or you ate Candace's banana bread, you got that little foretaste of the good life that is to come. May God's kingdom come in Cliff Cannon as it is in heaven. Thank you.